The 3,000-year peace ends. Aliens declare war. Humanity just smiles. Part 1. The declaration. The sky above Seoul turned dark at exactly noon. It was not clouds. It was not an eclipse. It was ships, thousands of them. They blocked the sun like a metal blanket covering the earth. Ambassador Yuna stood on the rooftop of the United Earth Embassy. She was a small woman with gray hair and calm eyes. She had served humanity for 40 years. She had seen many things, but she had never seen this. Her assistant, a young man named Junho, ran to her side. His face was white with fear. His hands were shaking. "Ambassador," he said, "they are broadcasting. Every channel, every network. The whole planet can hear them." Yuna nodded slowly. She did not look afraid. She looked interested. "Play it," she said. Junho pressed a button on his tablet. A voice filled the air. It was cold and mechanical. It spoke in perfect Korean, perfect English, perfect every language at the same time. "People of Earth," the voice said, "this is High Commander Vectus of the Galactic Council. For 3,000 years, we have watched you. For 3,000 years, we have kept peace in this galaxy. We protected you. We guided you. We made sure no species harmed another." Yuna listened without moving. Her eyes stayed on the ships above. "But peace has made you weak," the voice continued. "Your species has forgotten how to fight. You have become soft. You have become useless. The Council has decided. Earth will now serve the greater species. You will work for us. You will give us your resources. You will obey. Resistance is not logical. You cannot win. You have 24 hours to surrender. This is not a request." The broadcast ended. Silence fell over the city. Then the screaming started. People ran through the streets. Cars crashed into each other. Parents grabbed their children. Everyone was afraid. Everyone except Yuna. She turned to Junho. The young man was crying. "Ambassador," he whispered, "what do we do? We have no army. We have no weapons. The peace treaty banned everything. We cannot fight them." Yuna put her hand on his shoulder. Then she did something strange. She smiled. "Junho," she said softly, "do you know why humans smile?" He shook his head, confused by the question. "We smile when we are happy," she said. "But we also smile when we know something others do not." Before Junho could ask what she meant, her phone rang. She answered it. "Yes, Admiral," she said. "I saw it. Yes, I understand. I will meet you there." She ended the call and walked toward the elevator. "Where are you going?" Junho asked. "To meet some old friends," Yuna said. "Stay here. Keep the people calm. Tell them help is coming." "What help?" Junho shouted after her. "We have nothing." Yuna stepped into the elevator. As the doors closed, she looked at him one last time. "We have everything," she said. "We just hid it well." 300 kilometers away, in a secret military base under the mountains of Gangwon Province, Admiral Taiho received the same broadcast. He was an old man with a scarred face and hands that had seen war. Real war, not the fake peace the aliens had forced upon humanity. His officers surrounded him. They were young. They had grown up believing humans were weak. They had been taught that fighting was wrong, that violence was primitive. They looked terrified. "Sir," said Captain Unji, a woman with short black hair, "the alien fleet is massive. Our satellites count over 50,000 ships. We have nothing to fight them with." Taiho sat in his chair. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he started to laugh. It was not a nervous laugh. It was not a crazy laugh. It was the laugh of a man who had waited his whole life for this moment. His officers stared at him. "Sir," Yunji said carefully, "are you okay?" Taiho stopped laughing. He stood up and walked to a wall. On the wall was a painting of Earth. Beautiful, blue, peaceful. He pressed his hand against the painting. A hidden scanner read his fingerprints, his DNA, his brain waves. The wall made a sound and split open. Behind it was another room. A dark room. A room that should not exist. "Come," Taiho said. "All of you. It is time you learned the truth." They followed him into the darkness. Lights turned on one by one. And what they saw made them stop breathing. Weapons. Thousands of weapons. Guns that could shoot through mountains. Bombs that could crack planets. Armor that could survive the heart of a star. "This is impossible," Yunji whispered. "The peace treaty. All weapons were destroyed. The aliens watched us do it." "The aliens watched us destroy some weapons," Taiho corrected. "They watched us destroy the weapons we wanted them to see. The rest, the real weapons, we hid. For 3,000 years?" Another officer asked. "For 3,000 years," Taiho confirmed. "Every generation, every leader, we passed down the secret. We kept building. We kept improving. We studied the aliens. We learned their technology. We made it better." He picked up a small device from a shelf. It looked like a simple metal ball. "Do you know what this is?" he asked. They shook their heads. "This is a gravity bomb," he said. "One of these can crush an entire fleet into a space the size of a coin. We have 10,000 of them." Unji's fear was changing. It was becoming something else, something like hope. "Why?" she asked. "Why did we hide all this? Why did we pretend to be weak?" Taiho put the device back on the shelf. His smile faded. His eyes became serious. "Because the aliens made one mistake," he said. "They thought peace made us forget how to fight. But humans never forget. We just wait. We wait for the right moment. We wait until our enemy is confident. We wait until they think they have already won." He walked back toward the main room. "And then," he said quietly, "we show them what humans really are." His phone buzzed. A message from Ambassador Yuna. "The Council wants our surrender in 24 hours, the message said. "How long do you need?" Taiho typed his reply with a smile on his old face. "Give me 12. We will be ready in 12. Above the earth, the alien fleet waited. They expected fear. They expected begging. They expected humans to fall on their knees and accept their new masters. They did not expect what was coming. Nobody ever did. The 3,000-year peace ends. Aliens declare war. Humanity just smiles. Part 2. The hidden truth. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, where sunlight could never reach, there was a city. It had no name. It appeared on no map. For 3,000 years, it had existed in complete silence. Commander Jisu walked through its metal halls. She was 42 years old, born in this underwater city, trained here, and she had never once seen the surface world. Neither had her mother or her grandmother. For generations, her family had lived below the waves, keeping humanity's greatest secret. Today, that secret would finally see the light. "Commander," said her second officer, a serious man named Doan. "All stations report ready. The ships are waking up." Jisu nodded. She had waited her entire life to hear those words. They entered a massive chamber. It was so large that clouds formed near the ceiling. And inside this chamber sat the ships. Hundreds of them. Beautiful and terrible at the same time. They did not look like any technology the galaxy had ever seen. They were black as space itself. They had no sharp edges, no visible weapons, no engines that anyone could recognize. They looked almost alive. "The sleeping fleet," Jisu whispered. It was what her people called them. Dohan walked to a control panel. His fingers moved across the screens. "Beginning activation sequence," he announced. One by one, the ships began to glow. A soft blue light spread across their surfaces. The light grew brighter. The ground started to shake. Workers in the chamber cheered and cried. 3,000 years, an old woman said nearby. She was crying. My great-great-grandmother helped build the first one. She always said she would never see them fly, but she believed her children would. Jisoo put her hand on the woman's shoulder. Today, your family's work means something, Jisoo said. Today, we all mean something. In another part of the underwater city, Engineer Do-hun opened a vault that had not been opened in 500 years. Inside was a single ship. It was smaller than the others. It was also much more dangerous. The silent knife, Do-hun said to the young engineers behind him. Our ancestors built this ship for one purpose: to end wars before they begin. How does it work? Asked Somi, a young woman with curious eyes. Do-hun touched the ship's surface. It was warm, like touching skin. It does not fight, he explained. It does not shoot. It does something worse. It folds space. The young engineers looked confused. Imagine you have a piece of paper, Do-hun continued. On one side is our ship. On the other side is the enemy. Normally, you would have to travel across the paper to reach them. But what if you could fold the paper? What if you could bring the two sides together? Understanding spread across their faces. We can appear anywhere, Somi said slowly. Instantly. Without warning. Exactly, Do-hun said. And if we can appear anywhere, we can put a bomb anywhere. Inside an enemy ship. Inside their headquarters. Inside their leader's bedroom. That is. Somi struggled for words. That is terrifying. Yes, Do-hun agreed. That is why we never used it. That is why we hoped we would never need to. But now the choice has been made for us. He began the activation sequence. The silent knife hummed to life. Commander Jisoo stood in the central command room. Screens showed her everything. The alien fleet above Earth. The human cities in chaos. The countdown to surrender. 12 hours left. A communication came through. It was Admiral Taiho. Jisoo, he said. His old face looked tired but determined. Are you ready? The sleeping fleet is awake, she reported. 412 ships. All systems operational. The silent knife is also active. Good. What about the special weapons? Jisoo hesitated. The special weapons. The ones her people had hoped would never be needed. Ready, she said quietly. The black holes are contained. The star killers are armed. The mindbreakers are loaded. Mindbreakers? Admiral Taiho raised an eyebrow. Weapons that attack thought itself, Jisoo explained. One shot and an entire species forgets how to think. They become like babies. Forever. Taiho was silent for a moment. Let us hope we do not need those, he said finally. Let us hope. Jisoo agreed. Another screen lit up. It was Ambassador Yuna joining the call. The aliens are getting impatient, she reported. They keep broadcasting demands. They want to know why we are not begging yet. What did you tell them? Taiho asked. Nothing, Yuna smiled. I just keep sending them pictures of cats. They are very confused. Do-hun, who was listening nearby, laughed. Cats, he said. We waited 3,000 years, and our first response is cats. Humans have always been strange, Yuna said. It is one of our best features. In the alien command ship, High Commander Vectis was indeed confused. He stood in his war room, surrounded by his officers. They were tall creatures with gray skin and 4 arms. Their eyes had no pupils. They had conquered 100 worlds. Why are the humans sending us images of small furry animals? One officer asked. It must be a code, another guessed. A secret message. No, Vectis said slowly. I have studied humans for centuries. They do this when they are not afraid. They do this to mock their enemies. Mock us? The officers were shocked. They are about to be enslaved. What is there to mock? Vectis walked to the window of his ship. Below him, Earth turned slowly. Blue and green and beautiful. Something is wrong, he said. Send scouts to the surface. I want full scans of their military capability. Sir, we already scanned them. They have nothing. No weapons. No ships. No armies. Then scan again. Vectis shouted. Scan everything. The oceans. The mountains. The ice caps. Find what they are hiding. You think they are hiding something? Vectis turned to face his officers. For the first time in his long life, he felt something strange in his chest. It took him a moment to recognize it. Fear. Humans are the only species that smiles when facing death, he said. They smile because they know something. Find out what it is. Back in the underwater city, Jisoo watched the alien scouts descend toward Earth. They scanned the continents. They searched the caves. They mapped the forests. They found nothing, because there was nothing on Earth to find. Everything humanity had built was underground. Under mountains. Under oceans. Under the frozen ice of Antarctica. Hidden in places the aliens would never think to look. They are scanning the Pacific, Doham reported. Should we worry? Jisoo shook her head. This city is hidden behind 17 layers of protection. Our technology bends light, heat, and gravity. To their scanners, we look like empty water. They could fly directly above us and see nothing. Our ancestors were clever, Doham said with pride. Our ancestors were survivors, Jisoo corrected. They knew that one day the peace would end. They knew that one day someone would come to take what was ours. So they built, and they waited, and they taught their children to wait. She looked at the ships on her screen. 412 vessels of incredible power. The result of 3,000 years of secret work. 3,000 years of hidden genius. But the waiting is over, she said. Tell the pilots to prepare. In 8 hours, we rise. The message spread through the underwater city. Men and women who had trained their whole lives for this moment checked their equipment, said goodbye to their families, wrote letters to be opened if they did not return above the ocean. The aliens waited with confidence below the ocean. Humanity prepared with patience, and somewhere in between, the universe held its breath. The war had not started yet, but when it did, nothing would ever be the same. The 3,000-year peace ends. Aliens declare war. Humanity just smiles. Part 3. The counter-strigoginal Minji stood in the command center of Luna Base 7. The moon had always seemed empty to the aliens. Just rocks and dust and old human footprints from ancient times. They never suspected that beneath the gray surface, humanity had built a fortress. 6 hours until their deadline, her aide reported. The alien fleet is moving into attack formation. Minji studied the holographic display. 50,000 enemy ships. Each one powerful enough to destroy a city. Together, they could burn Earth to ash in minutes. She was not worried. Connect me to all commanders, she ordered. The screens around her flickered. Faces appeared. Admiral Taiho from the mountain base. Commander Jisoo from the underwater city. Ambassador Yuna from Seoul. Dozens of others from hidden bases across the solar system. This is it, Minji said. 3,000 years of preparation. 3,000 years of patience. Our ancestors gave us everything we need. Now we honor their sacrifice. The sleeping fleet is ready, Jisoo reported. 412 ships. All pilots in position. Ground forces are armed, Taiho added. Every continent. Every hidden base. We have 10 million soldiers ready to defend Earth. 10 million? One of the younger commanders looked shocked. But our population records show no military at all. Taiho smiled. The records lie. They always have. Every generation, we selected the best. We trained them in secret. They lived normal lives above ground and trained in hidden bases below. Even their families did not know. Minji nodded. And the fishing boats? A new face appeared on screen. Captain Sunwoo, a young man with bright eyes and steady hands. He was sitting in what looked like a simple fishing boat on the ocean surface. All boats ready, General, Sunwoo reported. 2,000 vessels across Earth's oceans. Waiting for your signal. The younger commander spoke again. Fishing boats? Against an alien fleet? Sunwoo laughed. These are not really fishing boats. Watch. He pressed a button. On the holographic display, everyone watched as Sunwoo's boat began to change. The wooden hull split apart. Metal plates emerged from beneath. Weapons systems unfolded. Engines that had been hidden inside transformed the small boat into a sleek warship. In 30 seconds, the fishing boat became a battlecruiser. We have 2,000 of these, Sunwoo said proudly. The aliens thought they were watching fishermen. They were watching our first attack wave. Minji allowed herself a small smile. Thank you, Captain. All units, prepare for Operation Sunrise. We attack in 1 hour. 1 hour? Yuna interrupted. We still have 6 hours until their deadline. Exactly, Minji said. They expect us to wait. They expect us to beg at the last moment. They will not expect us to attack early. Surprise is our greatest weapon. In the alien command ship, High Commander Vectis was eating his evening meal when the first alarm sounded. What is happening? He demanded. Unidentified objects rising from Earth's oceans, Commander. Hundreds of them. Vectis rushed to the command center. The screen showed something impossible. Ships were emerging from the water. Ships that had not existed moments ago. Ships with technology his people had never seen. That is impossible, he whispered. We scanned those oceans. There was nothing there. They hid them somehow. The technology to hide from our scanners should not exist. More alarms screamed. Commander! Objects emerging from under the Pacific Ocean. Large objects. Very large. The sleeping fleet rose from the depths. 400 warships, black as night, climbing toward the sky like demons escaping from the underworld. Vectis felt his 4 hearts beating too fast. Open fire. Destroy them before they reach orbit. His ships obeyed. Thousands of weapons fired at once. The sky burned with energy beams and missiles. Not a single shot hit its target. They are too fast. His weapons officer screamed. They move like nothing we have ever seen. That is not possible. Our targeting systems are perfect. Their ships bend space around them, Commander. Our weapons pass right through empty air. Vectis watched in horror as the human ships rose past his fleet. They did not fire. They did not attack. They simply flew past, ignoring the alien weapons like they were nothing. Then they turned around, and they smiled. Vectis did not know how he knew this. Ships do not have faces. But somehow, he felt it. The humans were smiling at him. Incoming transmission, his communications officer reported. It is from the human ships. Put it through. A face appeared on screen. A young man with bright eyes. Captain Sunwoo. Good evening, Commander, Sunwoo said politely. My name is Sunwoo. I will be destroying your fleet today. I wanted to introduce myself first. Humans consider it rude to kill strangers without saying hello. Vectis could not speak. You gave us 24 hours to surrender, Sunwoo continued. That was kind of you. We only needed 12 to prepare. So we have 12 extra hours. We decided to use them for practice. Practice? Vectis found his voice. Yes. You see, we have not had a real war in 3,000 years. Our weapons have never been tested in actual combat. Your fleet will be very helpful for training purposes. You dare to threaten us? We are the Galactic Council. We have conquered 100 worlds. Sunwoo tilted his head. Yes, we know. We have been watching you for a very long time. We know everything about you. Your weapons. Your defenses. Your weaknesses. We have had 3,000 years to study. He leaned closer to the camera. You made us pretend to be weak, Sunwoo said. You made us play the role of helpless primitives. Do you know how hard that was? Humans hate pretending to be weak. It goes against everything we are. But we did it. For 3,000 years, we smiled and bowed and said, yes, sir, and no. Sir, and please do not hurt us, sir. His smile disappeared. We are done pretending. The transmission ended. The battle began 30 seconds later. Sunwoo led the first wave. His ship, now a beautiful weapon of war, danced through the alien formation. He did not fly in straight lines. He did not follow normal physics. His ship jumped from point to point, appearing and disappearing like a ghost. Target locked, his weapons officer, a woman named Hai Jin, announced. Gravity bomb ready. Fire. A small metal ball shot from their ship. It flew toward an alien battleship. The aliens tried to shoot it down. They failed. The bomb activated. The alien battleship, 5 kilometers long and carrying 10,000 soldiers, collapsed. It folded in on itself. The metal screamed. The crew screamed. In 3 seconds, the entire ship became a ball of compressed matter the size of a human fist. Then it exploded. The explosion destroyed 12 more ships nearby. 1 bomb, Hygiene said quietly. 13 ships. Keep firing, Sunwoo ordered. No mercy. Across the battlefield, the human fleet unleashed 3,000 years of hidden fury. Ships that bent space. Weapons that ignored shields. Bombs that crushed matter itself. The aliens fought back. They were not weak. They had conquered many worlds. Their weapons were powerful, but they were fighting humans, and humans had been preparing for this moment since before the aliens' great-grandparents were born. On the moon, General Minji watched the battle unfold. Blue dots representing human ships. Red dots representing alien ships. The red dots were disappearing very quickly. Casualties? She asked. 3 human ships damaged. 0 destroyed. Enemy losses at 12% and climbing. Only 12%? Speed it up. I want this finished before dinner. Her aide stared at her. General, we are winning. Against the Galactic Council. We are actually winning. Minji turned to face her young aide. Her eyes were hard. We are not winning, she said. We have already won. This battle was decided 3,000 years ago when our ancestors chose to hide instead of fight. They gave us time. Time to learn. Time to build. Time to become something the galaxy has never seen. She looked back at the screen. The aliens thought peace made us weak. They were wrong. Peace made us patient. And patience made us unstoppable. Above Earth, the alien fleet burned, and humanity was just getting started. The 3,000-year peace ends. Aliens declare war. Humanity just smiles. Part 4. The revelation. The battle had lasted 4 hours. 4 hours of fire and death and screaming. When it ended, the alien fleet was broken. Of 50,000 ships, only 8,000 remained. They floated in space like wounded animals, their weapons silent, their engines dying. High Commander Vectis sat in his damaged command ship and tried to understand what had happened. His people had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. They had defeated species with technology far beyond their own. They had crushed rebellions and ended civilizations. They had never lost Dot until today. "Commander," his communications officer said weakly. Blood ran down the officer's face from a wound on his head. "The humans are hailing us again. Put them through." A new face appeared on screen. A woman this time. Young, with calm eyes and a small scar on her cheek. She wore a simple uniform with no decorations. Her name appeared below her image. Captain Hannah. "Hi, Commander Vectis," she said. Her voice was soft but firm. "My name is Hannah. I have been authorized to speak on behalf of humanity." "Speak then," Vectis said bitterly. "Tell us your terms of surrender." "Surrender?" Hannah looked confused for a moment. Then she laughed. It was not a cruel laugh. It was almost friendly. "Commander, we do not want your surrender. We want something much simpler." "What?" "We want you to understand." Vectis leaned forward. "Understand what?" Hannah was quiet for a moment. Behind her, Vectis could see the human command center. Officers moving calmly. Screens showing data. Everything organized and professional. These were not primitives. These were not the weak creatures his people had observed for 3,000 years. These were warriors wearing masks. 3,000 years ago, Hannah began, your people came to Earth. We were young then. We had just learned to travel between stars. We were excited. We thought we would find friends in the galaxy." She paused. "Instead, we found you. The Galactic Council. You told us that war was forbidden. That violence was primitive. That any species that fought would be destroyed. You made us sign a peace treaty. You made us destroy our weapons. You watched us very carefully to make sure we obeyed. We were protecting the galaxy," Vectis said. "We were keeping order. You were keeping control," Hannah corrected gently. "There is a difference. You did not want peace. You wanted power. You wanted to make sure no species could ever challenge you. So you forced everyone to be weak. Everyone except yourselves." Vectis said nothing. She was not wrong. "Our ancestors understood this," Hannah continued. "They smiled and agreed to your terms. They destroyed their weapons while you watched. They became farmers and artists and teachers. They played the role of peaceful primitives perfectly. But it was an act. Of course, it was an act. Humans are very good at acting. We have done it for thousands of years, even to each other. We lie. We pretend. We hide our true feelings behind false smiles. It is not our best quality, but it kept us alive." Hannah stood up and walked closer to the camera. "While your people watched our surface, our real work happened below, underground, underwater, in places you never thought to look. Generation after generation, we built in secret. We studied your technology and made it better. We created weapons you cannot imagine. We trained soldiers who have waited their entire lives for this moment." "Why?" Vectis asked. "Why go through all that trouble? You could have truly accepted peace. You could have been happy." Hannah shook her head slowly. "Because we know something about the universe that you never learned, Commander. Peace is not natural. It must be protected. And the only way to protect peace is to be strong enough to defend it." She pointed at the remains of the alien fleet on her screen. "You thought you were keeping peace by making everyone weak. But you were wrong. You were just delaying the inevitable. One day, someone would challenge you. One day, someone would decide that they wanted to be the new rulers. And when that day came, everyone you had weakened would die. We would have protected them. Would you?" Hannah raised an eyebrow. "You came to Earth today to enslave us. You said we were useless. You said we would serve the greater species. Is that protection? Or is that just power?" Vectis could not answer. "Humans learned a long time ago that the only person who can protect you is yourself," Hannah said. "We cannot depend on others. We cannot trust others to be kind. We must be strong enough to stand alone. That is not hate. That is not violence. That is just reality. She sat back down. So here's what will happen now, Commander. You will take your remaining ships and return to the Galactic Council. You will tell them what happened here. You will tell them that humanity is not what they thought. You will tell them that the sleeping giant has awakened. And if we refuse, then we will destroy your remaining ships. Hannah said it calmly, like she was discussing the weather. We do not want to. We have killed enough today. But we will if we must. The choice is yours. Vectis looked at his officers. They were broken, afraid. They had never experienced defeat before. They did not know how to handle it. What about the treaty? One officer asked. The peace treaty they signed? Hannah heard the question. She smiled. We never broke the treaty, she said. We were attacked first. We defended ourselves. According to the treaty, that is allowed. We simply defended ourselves very effectively. The officer had no response. You have 1 hour to decide, Hannah said. Leave in peace or stay and die. Humanity does not care which you choose. We have made our point. The transmission ended. In his damaged ship, Vectis sat in silence for a long time. His officers waited for orders. The human fleet waited outside, their weapons ready but not firing. Finally, he spoke. Turn the ships around. We returned to the council. Commander? An officer asked. We are. Retreating? We are surviving, Vectis said heavily. Today we learned that surviving is sometimes the only victory available. He looked out the window at Earth, blue and green and beautiful. So small from up here. So harmless looking, so dangerous. The humans were right about one thing, he said quietly. We thought peace made them weak. We thought 3,000 years without war had turned them into sheep. But they were never sheep. What were they, Commander? Vectis watched as the human ships moved aside, creating a path for his retreat. They could have destroyed him. They chose not to. That was perhaps the most terrifying thing of all. They were wolves, he said. Wolves pretending to be sheep, waiting for the right moment, waiting for us to make a mistake. And we made that mistake today. Yes, Vectis closed his eyes. Yes, we did. The alien fleet turned and began its slow journey home. Behind them, the human ships did not chase. They did not gloat. They simply watched and waited. Because that is what humans do. They watch. They wait. And when the moment is right, they remind the universe why they should never be underestimated. On the surface of Earth, people looked up at the sky. The darkness was gone. The alien ships were leaving. Somehow, impossibly, they had survived. They did not know how, but they knew one thing for certain. They were proud to be human. The 3,000-year peace ends. Aliens declare war. Humanity just smiles. Part 5. The New Order. 1 month had passed since the battle. 1 month since the galaxy changed forever. Ambassador Una stood at the entrance of the newly built human embassy on the planet Centrum, the heart of the Galactic Council. She was no longer the quiet diplomat who bowed and smiled and said nothing important. Today, she stood tall. Today, she spoke with the voice of a species that had proven itself. Ambassador, her assistant Junho said nervously. The council representatives are ready. Good. Una straightened her uniform. It was new. Black and silver with the symbol of Earth on her chest. Let us go make some friends. The council chamber was enormous. A circular room that could hold 10,000 beings from across the galaxy. Today, it was full. Every species wanted to see the humans. The species that had defeated the Galactic Council's greatest fleet. The species that had been hiding in plain sight for 3,000 years. Una walked to the center of the room. All eyes followed her. Some looked with fear, some with hatred, some with curiosity, and some, she noticed, looked with hope. "Representatives of the galaxy," she began. Her voice was calm and clear. It carried to every corner of the chamber. "My name is Yuna. I speak for Earth. I speak for humanity." Silence. "1 month ago, your council attacked our planet. They said we were weak. They said we were useless. They said we would serve the greater species." She paused. "They were wrong." Murmurs spread through the chamber. "Today, I am not here to gloat. I am not here to threaten. I am not here to demand revenge. I am here to offer something that the Galactic Council has never truly offered anyone." She looked around the room, meeting as many eyes as she could. "I am here to offer partnership." The murmurs grew louder. "For 10,000 years, Yuna continued, the Council has ruled through fear. They forced weaker species to give up their weapons. They controlled trade and travel and technology. They called it peace, but it was really just control." She took a step forward. "Humanity has learned that true peace cannot be forced. It must be earned. It must be built on trust and respect and equality. When everyone is equally strong, no one dares to attack. When everyone can defend themselves, no one needs to fear." A representative from a species Yuna did not recognize raised a limb. "You speak of equality," the being said, "but you have just demonstrated that humans are far more powerful than anyone imagined. How is that equality?" Yuna nodded. It was a fair question. "You are right," she admitted. "Today, humanity has power that others do not. We could use that power to do what the Council did. We could force everyone to obey us. We could become the new rulers of the galaxy." She shook her head. "But we will not, because that is not who we are. Humans have spent 3,000 years learning patience. We have spent 3,000 years learning to work in secret, to build slowly, to think about the future. We did not do all that work just to become another tyrant." She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small device. She placed it on the floor. "This is a data crystal. It contains the designs for our basic defensive technology. Shields that can resist energy weapons. Ships that can travel faster than anything the Council ever allowed. Weapons that can protect your worlds from attack." The chamber erupted in shocked voices. "You are giving us your technology?" Someone shouted. "Why?" "Because strong neighbors make safe homes," Yuna answered. "If every species can defend itself, no species will dare to attack another. That is true peace. Not the forced silence of the weak, but the confident calm of the strong." She stepped back from the crystal. "This is our gift to the galaxy. Take it. Use it. Build your own defenses. And when you are strong enough, join us. Not as servants. Not as subjects. But as partners." After the speech, Yuna found a quiet balcony overlooking the alien city. The sky was purple here, with 3 small moons hanging low on the horizon. Beautiful and strange. She heard footsteps behind her. Admiral Taiho appeared, looking uncomfortable in his formal uniform. "That was quite a speech," he said. "Did you disagree with it?" "No." He joined her at the railing. "I just wonder if it will work. The galaxy is full of species who have learned to fear and hate. Can we really change that?" Yuna thought about the question. "My grandmother used to tell me a story," she said, "about a man who planted a tree. He knew he would never sit in its shade. He knew he would never eat its fruit. But he planted it anyway, because he wanted his grandchildren to have those things." She looked at the alien moons. "Our ancestors did the same thing. They built weapons they never used. They kept secrets they never revealed. They lived their whole lives pretending to be weak, knowing they would never see the victory. They did it all for us. And now it is our turn," Taiho said slowly. Yes, now we plant trees for our grandchildren. We offer friendship to species that hate us. We build trust where there is only fear. We may never see the results, but someday, our grandchildren will live in a galaxy where no one is afraid. Taiho was quiet for a moment. That sounds very optimistic for a species that just fought a war. Yuna smiled. Humans are strange that way. We prepare for war better than anyone, but we dream of peace more than anyone. The two things live inside us together, always fighting, always balancing. Is that our weakness or our strength? Both, Yuna said. It has always been both. 6 months later, the first alien delegation visited Earth. They were a small species called the Miru, gentle beings who had been controlled by the Council for thousands of years. They came to see if the humans were real. If the offer of partnership was honest. Commander Jisoo welcomed them to the underwater city. She showed them the ships. She showed them the technology. She hid nothing. You really built all this in secret? The Miru leader asked in wonder. For 3,000 years? Yes, Jisoo said. Generation after generation. Parents teaching children. Children teaching grandchildren. We never gave up. We never stopped hoping. Why? How could you keep going for so long? Jisoo thought about her mother, who had died never seeing the surface. A grandmother, who had trained for a war that never came in her lifetime. All the people who had sacrificed everything for a future they would never see. Because that is what humans do, she said simply. We believe in tomorrow, even when today is dark, even when we cannot see the light. We believe that things can be better, and we work to make them so. The Miru leader was silent for a long moment. We would like to learn from you, the leader finally said. Not just your technology, your way of thinking, your way of hoping. Jisoo smiled. Then you are welcome here, she said. All of you forever. And so the galaxy began to change, slowly, carefully, one species at a time. Not everyone accepted humanity's offer. Some still hated them. Some still feared them. Some plotted revenge in dark corners of space. But others came forward. Others took the technology and built their own defenses. Others learned that they did not have to be afraid anymore. Others discovered that peace through strength was better than peace through submission. And humanity watched over it all. Not as rulers, not as masters, but as partners, as friends, as the strange, stubborn, hopeful species that had waited 3,000 years for the chance to make things right. On Earth, children grew up knowing the truth about their history. They learned about the secret cities, the hidden fleets, the generations of sacrifice. They learned that their ancestors had smiled in the face of tyranny because they knew that one day their descendants would be free. And when those children looked up at the stars, they did not see enemies. They saw possibilities. They saw friends they had not met yet. They saw the future their grandparents had planted, finally growing into something beautiful. The 3,000-year peace had ended, but a new peace was beginning, a real peace. And this time, humanity would make sure it lasted forever, because that is what humans do. They hope, they fight, they build, and they never, ever give up. The end.